In this video, I'm going to be making a tier list on all the creatures in the Arc Editions mod. These are going to be the ones in Arc Ascended and Arc Survival Evolved. So I think all the creatures in the Arc Editions mod are really good. Obviously, they're really well done, so I don't think any of them are bad. So just because the rankings are a bit low, or it might seem that they're a bit low, it doesn't mean they're bad. It's just some of these are basically you're just ranking them compared to the other creatures in the Arc Editions mod, and so I do think they're really good. It's just some of them have to be lower. With that being said, the first creature on the list is the Helicoprion. It's like the giant shark with the saw blade as a mouth. It's a really cool creature, and it's got a good design, of course. But it's not really that strong of a creature, and not one I find myself using too often. Its main ability is it can basically turn items into blueprints. It does this, and it has a percentage chance to turn them into blueprints. Sometimes they can break, or sometimes it'll give you the exact blueprint of it, which seems like it'd be pretty overpowered, but I personally haven't had much use for it. It's a really cool creature overall, and I could see if someone wanted to put it higher, but me personally, I don't use it that much. And I think the other creatures on this list are a bit better, which is why I'm going to put it at C tier. After that, we have the Acrocus. This one is not in Arc Ascended yet, but this one's going straight to S tier. This is one of my favorites in the mod. Might be my favorite in the mod, and it's going to get revamped soon and added to Arc Ascended. It's basically getting like a full TLC. These pictures you're seeing here are from Net's Twitter account. I'll probably put a link to his Twitter so you can see them. But this is what the new Acro will probably look like. It'll probably have some changes with it as well, but they're getting that for Arc Survival Ascended. It's not out yet, but of course, knowing YouTube, it's probably going to come out right after I make this video and make this video outdated. But whatever, the Acro, it still has some amazing abilities. It's got like the rage meter thing, which like turns into adrenaline mode, which is super fun to play around with, and it has a great design. It's going to have an even better one with Arc Ascended, and also it has the coolest roar in the entire game. After that, we have the Concave Editor. This one's going to be in the B tier. It is a pretty good creature all around. It has a unique ability to be able to basically burrow in the sand, and you can like swim through the sand. And in order to tame it, you gotta like blast that out with rockets, which is pretty unique. But overall, it's not my favorite of all the creatures, and I don't really have too many uses for it. But it is a nice creature to go around, and it's got some really unique abilities, of course, so it's going to go in the B tier. And then we have a very similar creature, the Cryolophosaurus, which is going in the same tier as B. Kind of have the same feelings about this one as I do the Concave Editor, but this one has the ability to basically like shoot ice breath by getting snow from the ground. It can do either snow or water. It can like drink it up and turn it into frost breath, which is a pretty unique ability. But it is still not as useful as any of the other creatures on the list, and I do really like it still, but it's going to go in the B tier. I think that is a good place for both of these creatures. And then we have another underwater creature, which is the Archelon. This one's going to be in the C tier. Another one that I think has a great model as well. This one looks absolutely dope, and the idea of basically a giant sea turtle that can go on land and in water is a really cool idea. And it's got some pretty good abilities too, like the ability to basically be immune to jellyfish and get their biotoxin, which it also kind of makes it annoying to feed because it only eats biotoxin. It can also make this algae stuff, which you can use to make this sushi thing. I haven't really used it, but apparently you can use it to get a taming effectiveness on dinosaurs, but I don't know if I would use that because it'd be kind of cheaty in my opinion, but I don't know, it doesn't really, depends on how you feel about it, but I'm going to put it in C tier. Overall, it's a pretty cool creature. And then we have the Seaonus, which is going to go in the C tier. This one is pretty basic compared to the other ones. It does have a cool ability, basically being able to like latch onto stuff and make it bleed out. And this is the only one of the Arc Editions creatures that's a knockout tame, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. I personally like having knockout tames, but I know some people like the more in-depth taming methods that the Arc Editions creatures have. But other than the latching ability, it doesn't really do too much other than just attack. But it does have a cool model, and it has this like thing where it like flaps on land, which is pretty funny. So C tier. And then we have one of the more recent creatures in the Arc Editions mod, the Catosaurus. This one is going in the A tier. It's very close to S, but I think the Acro is just on another level, which is why it's going to be S and this one's A. But this one is absolutely insane. The model is absolutely amazing. Like, I think it's perfect. And of course, it's got some cool abilities too. It's basically like the Dire Bear, where it like runs and then it keeps getting faster and faster as it goes on. It's got a pretty cool roar, as well as it has a few unique abilities as well. And it's pretty fun to mess around with. It's a good size like theropod carnivore, so I'm going to put it in the A tier. And then we have probably the most iconic creature from the mod, being the Brachi, and this one is going to be the other S tier that we have. The Brachi is absolutely phenomenal. This one might be my favorite. It's between the Acro and the Brachi for me, which is why, of course, they're both going in S tier. But the Brachi's got a ton of cool abilities. First, it can like stand on its hind legs and do a giant stomp, which is completely overpowered because it pretty much kills everything in the way. It's got a Fear Roar that can Fear Roar a Giga, and it also harvests pretty much every resource in the game. Once you have one of these, you can harvest pretty much everything. The thing is, the Brachi is extremely overpowered, which makes it useful, but that's not why I like it so much, even though that is a cool bonus. I just think it's an amazing creature, amazing model, and it's really cool to see it roaming around the world, so easily S tier. And then we have the Dinotherium, which is going to go in the A tier. This one is a really cool one. It's basically a giant elephant thing. The model is absolutely great, which makes sense because it is one of the newer ones. So obviously, it's got a lot of work done into it, and it looks great. But it's got like, basically ability where it can do a roar and buff Dino's damage, I believe, which is pretty cool. The saddle looks amazing too. It's like that thorny dragon one that it's got the thing on the top. It's got a unique taming method, even though it drove me crazy because I was trying to tame it at like 4 a.m. like doing the beer method where it does like the different like signals towards you and you have to feed it, which drove me absolutely crazy, but it was a fun taming method. So overall, this one is a pretty cool creature. I'm going to put it at A tier. I think it goes right under the Ceratosaurus. And lastly, we have the Dinosuchus, which is going in the top of A tier. I would, and I really want to put it S, but I feel like the Acro and the Brachi are just on a complete another level that I can't put this one in S tier, but it's going to be very top of A. And this one is, I just absolutely love this creature. It's such a cool idea, and it's got some cool abilities. It's basically got this like ability where you open up its mouth and it's the Gigabyte, and you can do a ton of damage, as well as it's pretty good underwater as well. But overall, I just really like the idea of it. It's like this massive crocodile or alligator. I don't know which one it is. I'm sure someone's going to correct me in the comments. But this just idea of a menacing looking like crocodile thing in the swamps, and the absolute size of it is so cool to me. So that's why it's one of my favorite creatures in the Arc Editions, and it's going at the top of A. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.